Talk about it all here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button.
You know, one thing about Jaden that I've tried to talk to him about is tightening his chin strap. Because he doesn't tighten it, so every time he gets hit, it looks like his helmet's all messed up. And it's like, oh, God, he just got rocked.
For the win! Caught! It's gone! LSU does it!
After fucking Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, boys. Are you kidding me?
Well, LSU fan came stuck his spike in my booty.
That motherfucker hard!
Fan brought his 2 grandkids by and literally was just 30 seconds, just wanted to say thank you for the team and the season and what you did and how much it means to everybody here is truly what makes LSU special.
Yeah. Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you.
Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. It's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question. I thought, my God, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live. Open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go! All right. Big start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
All right, good morning and welcome in here on this Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta. So great weekend. Lloyd, how was your weekend? A little Mardi Gras action? No, you were in A-Town, huh?
Mardi Gras in
No, Mardi
Alexandria.
Yeah.
I just watched the old Frisco championship.
Come on.
Watched the boys. We watched it outside.
Great weather.
And if we did battle with D1 baseball, as
course.
that was the theme of the weekend. It felt like from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was always Friday. They had their work cut out for them.
Dude, it was an all-out war on Twitter Friday. We had basketball practice on Friday starting at 2:30. So I get to the school at around 2 o'clock, And so I just, I pull up Twitter on my phone, and every single post on Twitter
I was
is
there.
this locked out, Q screen. And I was like, oh gosh. Like, the worst thing you can do is not be prepared.
It shows how the vast reach that a certain account had on YouTube.
Of course. That
when that gets taken away, all of the people are going to flock to the paid service version of this. They're like, I was in the queue for an hour and 38 minutes.
It's unbelievable. So what inning was the game when you got into it?
I watched Daily Joy stream it on her phone.
There you go.
And on her laptop at work.
Shout out to all the LSU fans on Twitter.
You can't keep us down.
I saw multiple streams up.
Shout out keep us down
to the faithful.
But she was on live streaming on Twitter of her work laptop that was like she was holding her phone to do it, and I watched 5 innings like that. And it was kind of Josh, you're in trouble. That's your third work laptop. Like they sent you another one, so get it together, buddy. Now the whole world knows your dumb ass is failing work.
But no, it was definitely a war, a battle at the beginning. You gotta be ready and prepared. If you're gonna be the only streaming service showing the standard of college baseball, you got to be prepared for the masses to flock, and they were not. But all in all, good weekend for LSU baseball. Great weather, like Lloyd said. So my nose finally clear. Finally got rid of the congestion that made me sound like this for 2 weeks talking in the microphone. It was awful.
And you had to watch yourself and cut the clips.
That's the worst
part of it.
Because I already hate watching myself. Like having to cut the YouTube videos or the social media stuff. I hate listening to myself regardless. But when I was sick.
No Christian Bale?
No Christian Bale at all.
He loves watching himself.
At all. And with that congestion, it made me sound even worse. And it almost made me want to not
cut the clips.
Cut clips.
Yeah, just give somebody else to do. Shout out Roxanne Dill.
Amen. But good weekend. Don't forget, we are built and brought to you every day by R&B Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and his crew, residential, commercial, the whole thing. Make sure you get in touch with them. Check them out on social media. The Instagram content is great. Our phone line, no phone guest today, but the phone line is brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center, Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and the crew. And then, of course, every single day, we are brought to you by Louisiana's big truck injury lawyer, Gordon McKernan. Get Gordon, get it done. This is the number, 888-8888. Get Gordon, get it done. The website's getgordon.com. But yes, like Lloyd said, good weekend for LSU baseball. LSU women's basketball falls yesterday. You've seen all the combine stuff. How about Willie Campbell going sub 5 on the 40-yard dash?
He was saying, like, I could run on the floors. Like, that was probably his, like, if I do anything, I'm going to do a sub 540. And he's like, 4.9 guy.
And he goes 5 the first time.
Yeah.
5 flat. And he really kind of locked in, got in the ground, and he was chugging along, Coach. Like, put his head down and was moving. And goes 4.98 the second time. Shout out to Will. He had some great numbers. Obviously, the wingspan is the one thing that has been talked about the most, because I don't know what was the official number on his wingspan.
I am looking at his combine right now.
Let's see it.
So, at the 2025 NFL Combine, LSU offensive lineman Will Campbell showcases athletic prowess running an unofficial 40-yard dash in 4.98 seconds, which, while not officially confirmed, places him amongst the fastest for his position. Standing at 6'5" and weighing 319, Campbell's agility was further evidenced by his top speed exceeding 20 miles an hour. Relative athletic score was 9.8. Arm length just under 33 inches, which I hear is huge.
That's what you hear? Mm-hmm. Who told you that?
Good weekend.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, I mean it's been a good showing for the LSU offensive line.
What's like a long arm? Like what's
compare?
good?
Look up Kelvin Banks Jr., the other offensive tackle. See what his numbers were. That would be a good comparison, I think, because for some reason I haven't heard that about him. So, but yeah, Glimmer makes a good point in the chat. Will's quote about you block with your feet, not your arms. Absolute truth. This is the thing. You can get upset about arm length, wingspan, whatever you want to call it. The film does not lie. This man has played in the SEC for 3 years, every game against top-tier competition, guys in the league, whether it's Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, played against these guys week in, week out, and has dominated. So why are we're nitpicking arm size, arm length, wingspan when you've got film of 3 years of a professional left tackle?
If you get him, regardless, do you think that he cares? Like, do you think he wants to be a left tackle? I would imagine there's a point of pride at some, like,
100%.
with that position.
But he wants to play football.
Yeah, like either way, you're getting a phenomenal football player.
100%.
But it's hard. Like you said, he blocks with his feet. That's what, if you put on the tape, like, look at how he plays the position. I've never once had a question about his arm length. Did that ever come up?
No.
Like, watching him at left tackle for 3 years was as much of a treat as having anybody as that. It's like having a lockdown corner.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't have to ask any questions about Will Campbell.
You don't have to worry
at
about
any point. As long as he's there on Saturday, your left tackle is going to be a position in which you don't have to worry about. What was the story? Like, he gave up 0 sacks, and it was like, maybe he probably gave up 2. But if that's the case, like, he was thrown into the fire as a freshman against Jared Verse, got beat on the first play, and then after that, he locked in for 3 years.
For 3 years.
Whatever they get, I don't know what else, and we might be too close to it, but if, like, a scout was to talk about, like, do you want to have a conversation about Will Campbell? Like, absolutely.
100%.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, there was conversation about him being the first overall pick. You wouldn't have a thought for the next 10 years.
Right. And when you look at this past season and say he didn't perform the way people – so, look, let's see. Arm measurement was 32 5/8 for Will is what I'm seeing, which the consensus threshold is 33 inches. So he's 32 5/8. He's 3/8 underneath the consensus. Kelvin Banks is 33
Might have been cold.
Do what?
Might have been cold at the combine.
Might have been chilly in Indianapolis. I'm sure it was. It's chilly here. I'm sure it's chilly in Indianapolis. 32 5/8 is they're complaining about 3/8 of an inch. Rough. But I mean, Will, he's put it on film time and time again. And there's nothing that you can really get upset about. I mean, when you look back at the season, his issue was what? False starts was probably the biggest knock against Will this past year.
And
he had false starts. But to me, that has nothing to do with his ability to block the guy in front of him. It's because he had a million things on his plate with this offense. Him and Nussmeier having to organize everything and move things around and get the
and you
shifts
have a true
correct.
freshman center.
Right. And he was controlling the offensive line in a way when he gets to the league.
I'm saying it was not shocking to see Will Campbell do something like this because of how athletic he's been. And, yeah, like you said, like if you're going to argue false starts or try to, like, nitpick his game, the false start's a product of having a new first-year quarterback that he hasn't had. He had Jane Daniels for 2 years, was never a problem. And then you have a new quarterback, new center, and he's trying to play left tackle.
And a new offensive coordinator.
Like, those are things, so we're talking about, like, what, how many penalties in his career?
Right.
I don't think it's an issue. But
no.
That's where you
it's not going to be a problem when he gets to the league.
And that's where you have the conversation of, like, where do you think he goes, realistically, in the draft?
4. I think if he's there, the Patriots take him.
Seems like a Patriots pick. They have a new, obviously, they feel like they have their quarterback with Drake May. And then you start building around him.
I feel like Vrabel is just, like, if he interviews Will,
oh, yeah,
he's going to love him.
Wow.
Like, he's going to fall in love with him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
Yeah, those two are meant for each other.
100%. I think if he's...
It's his next Taylor Lewan.
At 4, he's going to take him.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Now, he could drop. He could make it to 10 to the Bears. I think that's the farthest he goes.
Oh,
if
they
he
would be
slides,
thrilled.
The Bears would take him at 10. I think he goes to the Pats at 4.
Yeah, I could see him getting into room with Vrabel, and they both Papa's in and...
I mean...
And just start... I mean, what's Will Campbell's dad's name? Bull. Yeah. I think Bull and Vrabel will probably get along just fine.
100%.
And if you're Will Campbell, like 4.98, coach, I know you caught some touchdowns in the league. We can run this thing back and start catching touchdowns in the Super Bowl again. It'll be me this time. Give him his number. But they are two peas in a pod. Those two are meant for each other. I mean, if you can hang out with, like, he did it with Lewan, obviously. You see the relationship he has with, like, the Bustin' with the Boys guys. Like, he's a guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Will Campbell will fit right in with that room. And you start rebuilding your, like, the Patriots the way that they were supposed to be built.
Right. Well, and that's kind of the order that you can go in when you find your quarterback. Go in the draft and get your
now you start building around. Look at what
left
Man
tackle.
Campbell did.
Right, 100%. I mean, they went and got Penei Sewell in that first draft when he was with the Lions, and I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember
that
their
was what he
reaction
did.
whenever he fell to Detroit?
Because it was between the Bengals and the Bengals going to take him at 5, Sewell at 5, Jamar at 5. They go Jamar. Penei Sewell drops to 7, I think is where they took him, because 6 was Waddle maybe. Maybe he was 6 to the Lions. But, yeah, he falls to the Lions because people thought Sewell was in the same conversation kind of how Campbell is, where it's like, you might take this guy with the number 1 pick. And Penei Sewell ends up being a multiple-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman. I just think if you're the Patriots, that's the move. Because when I look at the first 3 teams, it's the Titans, Raiders, and the Giants at 3. All 3 of those teams are going to go something else because none of them have their quarterback. Titans, Browns, Giants.
Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jags.
Yeah. No, the first 3 teams all are going to go something else, whether that's edge rusher, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, or quarterback. I think the first slot Will could probably go as 4. I would say 4, 8, 9, 10 are the 3 picks I think Will could likely go.
God, if you're the Browns, you hope to God that Abdul Carter falls to you so that you could trade Myles Garrett and then you're actually on a pathway to success.
Yes, 100%.
Because that would help
and you trade
time.
Myles Garrett for probably one of these other picks in the draft.
And get a quarterback.
That's the play.
Yeah, so if you're the Browns, you should actually feel like important draft for sure, but you should actually feel pretty confident if you're able to move Garrett and get Carter. Like, would you trade? I don't think Myles Garrett wants to go to the Titans, he wants to go to contender, but you have to figure out how to be able to do that.
Right.
And then draft Abdul Carter, and then you're like, all right, we get to reset our timeline, and hopefully you can either sign a quarterback or be able to trade back into the first to get one.
You drop back in this
or
first.
You wait a year.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback draft's going to be much better. But I think the lower half of that draft, people are going to take shots on quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
Whether it's Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe. Ewers is in the draft, is he not?
He is.
Yeah, Ewers. Guys like that. Kyle McCord, that's in the later rounds. But some of these guys, they're going to get shots. So, to me, Will's going to go one of those 4 places, I think. He's going to go with the Pats early at 4, but I think the Panthers, Saints, or Bears could all take him at the bottom. I think he's a top 10 pick, 100%. It just depends if he's going to be the first tackle off the board or not. The reason I think he will be is because Vrabel is just going to fall in love with him when he interviews him.
Yeah.
Because I think the Pats are either going to go him or Banks. I think they're going to go left tackle. So it would be nice to see Willie go there. But more from this weekend, obviously LSU baseball with a huge weekend. Now, it wasn't without some bumps on the road or some struggles here and there in different spots. But the Tigers go 3-0, 4-0 in Texas as a whole, going back to Dallas Baptist. But 3-0 this weekend with wins over Kansas State, Nebraska, and Sam Houston State. I think the Kansas State win was, 8-5? They beat Nebraska 11-5? And then they get the win yesterday over Sam Houston State 12-8.
Yeah,
so
the Sam Houston game, it was a rout early. Then, of course, they made it a little bit of a ball game. But LSU with 12-8 win over Sam Houston, 11-1 on the year, and needed all of it. Like you saw a full display of LSU baseball, whether it was the Dallas Baptist win or Nebraska, they go down 5-0 early. Mm-hmm. And I never really panicked. Like I wasn't I wasn't nervous about how that team was playing. Like Ianson got going after a bit of a slow start, but he's kind of dabbled with like a promiscuous first few innings. But once he settles in, he got the curveball to land, and then you just waited for the LSU offense to happen, which I think is probably the thing we haven't talked about enough is that lineup that they put out there. Obviously, huge debate on Mic'd Up about where to put everybody in the lineup. If you haven't seen it, great clip. But Dickinson felt like being the guy that is going to protect Bear Jones in this lineup And that's the biggest talking point. But I think what has happened more so than anything that allowed you to do that is Curiel at the leadoff spot.
Yes.
Like, without that, that puts everybody into place because Dickinson, in my mind, like going to the scrimmages, watching them play, he was batting leadoff nearly every game. And it made sense because he's a guy that can drop one down. He's got speed. He stole like 28 bags or something like that last year. And so it was somebody that can get your offense going and put you on, get people on base. Curiel being able to do the exact same thing, whether it's be super patient at the plate and draw walks, which he's done.
That's such a good job.
3 out of the 4 games, he
unbelievable.
started the game off with a walk. Like, or he can has gap-to-gap power. Like, you haven't seen the home run yet, but he's got that in the tank. Like, he's going to be a great player for 2 years. But him being able to lead you off and then you can move Stanfield to 9, like that, there's no break in that lineup. When Stanfield plays well,
like he did this weekend.
yes, LSU is an absolute force.
Right. Well, he kept turning the lineup over, and he's the most dangerous player on the base path. I mean, that play where he gets it's a single, and they have the throwing error back in, to the first baseman or whatever, and he gets to third in the blink of an eye. Was unbelievable.
He thought about going home.
Like, just constantly putting pressure on the opposing pitcher and defense. And when the bottom of the order plays the way it did for LSU this weekend, buddy, best of luck. Because Stanfield continuously turned that lineup over time after time again, even when he wasn't swinging the bat very well. I mean, he got some singles here and there, but he drew walks. He was confident at the plate. It was a very good showing.
Well, even if
LSU.
he didn't get a base hit, he knew his role wherever he could even, like, he could get you he got runners in. Like, he didn't have to get hits. It was times he came up with, like, 1 out or, like, less than 1, runner on third. He hits at the shortstop, get him in. Like, that's all you have to do is be able to constantly put pressure. You're trying to score 1 run in an inning.
Right.
If you're able to do that, you're going to win a lot of baseball games or at least have the threat of 1 run an inning. And I know people are going to probably freak out or at least be concerned about the amount of runners left on base. That's just the way they play.
Right.
Like, they get a ton of people on base, and it's you have to be able to capitalize on opportunities in games to be able to score. But the one game they haven't done that was the only loss. And since then, I know they started a little cardiac cats this weekend where you go Kansas State, go 11 innings?
Yep.
And then you have Nebraska, you go down 5-0, come back in both those games and win. And the defense that they're playing is unbelievable right now.
It feels like I'm watching 2011 football.
Yes.
Where they're just not letting anything happen. Like, whether it's Stanfield, Brown, Pearson, Curiel in the outfield, where they're just, flying around, diving, making every catch possible. I mean, obviously, a lot will be spoken about this relay that was made in game number 1, the play at the plate to get the Kansas State batter out while they try to win the game. And the most underrated piece of that play is Pearson snagging that ball at the time which he did.
I thought the same thing.
And, I mean, obviously the throw to Milam was great. Glove side, Milam gets it. Bang, right to Hernandez, who goes down with the tag. But the way Pearson plucked that ball out of the air to make the play.
It's so casual.
It very easily could have just
not
missed
happened.
it, bounces one more time on the wall, game over. But he just kind of pokes it out of the air and
literally snatched it.
Shout out to John Eads for his great coverage. He got all the good plays covered on WAFB. He got great camera angles of all of it. But LSU put out a piece of video on this relay throw against Kansas State, and it was just, I don't know how you're a pitcher on the mound and you are not so confident in everything you throw over the plate because of what you have behind you. Whether it's that play, followed up after that relay play to get the out of home, is Dickinson with a diving catch at second to get the third out. And then the next day you have a flip from Dickinson to Milam at second base.
Is second base sex.
I mean,
you practice that like it
buddy.
happens in practice, and that's about it. It has to be a perfect opportunity for the way the ball was hit, nobody on base, because you're both trying to kind of make that play in the middle.
Right.
And that is chemistry.com. Like, for Milam to play the shortstop, he has, first of all, whoever was worried about his arm, he threw that guy out from left field,
Right.
like on a line. And then you see what Dickinson's doing at second. Like, you have two shortstops.
Yeah, second and
technically three if Broswell plays third.
Right. With the way that Dickinson and Milam are playing baseball right now, it's on. I mean,
that is my favorite brand of baseball. What they're doing, pitching, defense, timely hitting. You'll win a lot of games you play.
I do have one question for you, Lloyd. How much concern do you have on this number of base on balls, hit by pitch, walks?
It was going to come at some point. Weekend? It was like, you played 5 games this week. Like, at some point, you were going to get to where guys pitched multiple times. Like, you saw Casey Evans come back for a second save, and you saw the velo down to, 93. And that's going to happen because he's a freshman that hasn't pitched like this before. And you're still down Gavin Guidry, who hasn't been able to play. So you saw the bullpen get taxed. You saw the arms have to come out. And at some point, I mean, you went through a weekend where you walked 3 guys. Like, you were at 6 games in with 6 walks on the season.
Right.
And that's just not what it's going to be.
It's not,
but it's also not going to be this either. Like, you just had a lot of guys that have been throwing a ton that you could. I mean, your guy Primo he need a pacemaker.
Yes.
Because Jay even laughs when he puts him out there. He's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And same thing with Cooper Williams has kind of put himself in that.
Right.
Where he comes in and walks 2 straight people.
Those are your 2 lefties.
Yes, and you need them. But the way that you're able to go, you saw who's my guy for Cowan? You saw Cowan come in again. Like, you saw multiple people pitch multiple innings in multiple games. And that's a testament to your depth because not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of teams across the country have that many arms that they can throw out there where you have Newt come in, but because if they struggle, quick hook.
Right, 100%.
And then you're starting to see who Jay trusts early on, whether it be Cowan, obviously Connor Ware, and I think he knows what he has in Casey Evans, and I don't think he'll be called on like that to where he has to pitch multiple times.
Right, especially once Guidry's back.
Technically, it was a back-to-back. He had one day off in between and still came in and got the save. But that's your guy. That's your back-end closer. And if you continue to get quality starts where they go at least 5, which is what you're seeing. That's kind of been the threshold of even Ianson, with the way that he started, he still only had 90 pitches through the 5th.
And, the 5th and 6th inning were his.
He struck out the side twice.
Those were his best innings.
5 of 6 were strikeouts.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it just dialed in. And then the other kicker you have is, here's Willie Schmidt out the pen.
Dude.
That's unfair.
And it was electricity. When they brought him in, I was like, oh my gosh.
He comes in throwing he's got the juice.
100%. And the final out of the game.
Oh,
where he just bends this off speed right into the pocket of the strike zone.
It felt like Alec Box.
Dude, it was unbelievable. My go-to play is the Casey Evans, though. After his strikeout to win it, when he did the
Dylan Cruz.
Dude, fire. But this pitch right here, Coach.
Let's see if we can get some audio on this dog.
I mean, come on.
Again, at over 3. He can throw a fastball.
My favorite part is he celebrates.
Yeah, it's not fair. I mean, 96.
Look at this play.
To a breaking ball like that.
Get me some of that injected straight in my veins, dude.
1,000 RPM, the final pitch.
But I love
the electricity is there.
And his his comfortability in that electric environment.
This is why I came to LSU.
100%. He gives you the little fist pump celebration. And then I'm just walking to the dugout. This is just another
strut it.
This is just another Saturday night, fellas.
But the best quote of the night was this game. Whenever obviously LSU fans are dialed in and hammered, at this point, it's drunk baseball, and they started booing every ball. And Ben McDonald goes, LSU fans just don't see at night. They don't see well when it comes to this time, and it's they're plastered, and it was just it felt like it was a home game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the purple and gold. I mean, shout out to all of you LSU fans that got out there.
Whether it's from the streaming to being at the game, the energy around LSU baseball right now I don't think it's ever been this high.
No, at all.
Not since, obviously the Jay Johnson era, the expectations are super high. Tennessee was ranked number 1 in some polls. LSU's ranked 2, it's 1 or 2. And Tennessee is starting to get nervous because they're coming out the woodworks and commenting on every LSU post.
Right.
But, boys, I understand it's baseball. Ride with the team. The highs are going to be high. The lows won't be that low, but there will be they'll probably drop a game this week.
Right.
After what you just experienced, and then have to be able to bounce back and do it again. Give them a second. Get ready for conference play. But you should feel very good about where this LSU baseball team is because you look around, you go,
Look at Texas A&M.
Oh,
I mean, you want to complain about this weekend drop to Omaha? I mean, you could be Texas A&M where you're just dropping game after game after game.
or you could be UL baseball, and after this fiasco, they've lost 3 straight since
The curse of Podna.
Yeah, since outing Podna.
Yep, 100%. But yeah, I mean, this week you turn around, you go Tuesday, Wednesday against North Dakota State in the box, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday series against North Alabama. So you're going to be stretching out the arms again this week. You're just coming off of a 4-game, obviously where you had to play almost all of your pitchers over this weekend and back to Dallas Baptist on Wednesday. Now you're going Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 games in 6 days once again this week. So you're going to stretch that bullpen out again, but they can keep riding this wave, this energy. Like if they go through and they just wax these next 5 games before next week, I mean, getting ready for SEC play, that's just the energy will be even higher than it is right now.
I'm trying to decide. I guess you can. I don't know who they're going to throw for Tuesday? Wednesday, because you obviously want to reset your starting pitching where you'll go back to kind of get back on schedule Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But the guys that you're throwing midweek, you're going to want to start using. I would imagine you're going to start seeing Connor Ware on the weekends. You're going to start seeing Zach Cowden on the weekends because that's an incredible duo to have back to back.
Right.
And also to be, but I don't know how often you'll be able to do that. That's not I would maybe start Ware Tuesday.
That's what I'm about to say. If you start
and
Ware
then Cowan
Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Which day do you throw? You can throw Ware on the weekend if you start him on Tuesday.
It just depends on. I don't want to say waste, but you don't really want to put Will Schmidt on a Wednesday.
Right.
You need him out the pen at this point. And really the kicker of all this, and it's been something that's been a conversation, but you just haven't seen it. It's like, where do you put Gavin Guidry? But now it feels like there's a role for him whenever you start playing baseball like this. This is like SEC tournament style.
Yes.
Like this is what you'll have to experience to be able to have people in these positions where it becomes a grind. You're playing every day, it feels like. And that's the same thing in Omaha. What happened in 2023? You looked around and you go, damn. Like, first of all, you lost 2 pitchers, 2 starters. You'd see Shores continue to work his way back, but he was on that 2023 team, and he was going to be he was your Friday night guy. Because what you saw the previous year, we're like, okay, he's got that kind of stuff, gets hurt. And obviously, who's our other guy that's in the bigs that we talked about with?
Taylor?
Yes. We talked about with
was it Grant Taylor's his name?
Yeah, Grant Taylor is throwing 105 miles an hour. Like, would have been nice to see him in the purple and gold. Didn't get to, really. And so going into that year, they didn't really have the pitching, but you saw guys, Thatcher Hurd, Ty Floyd, step up. Now it feels like you have more names and more depth than you've ever had. Like
100%.
Jay's never had a loaded arsenal like this, where you only have really one guy that's hurt right now.
Right.
And you'll continue to see some attrition, like it'll happen throughout the year of baseball. You play 56 games, hopefully 65, 70.
Yeah.
And you're there at the end. But in 2023, with a loaded cast of like top end names when it comes to pitching and what you had offensively, like the first and second overall pick.
Right.
And then you had Tommy White, who came back.
Yeah, and then you had Trey Morgan.
Right, like that team was loaded.
Yeah, Slat.
And you still had to play every game.
Slat in the chat. What about Jacob Myers, the Nichols transfer? Saw him earlier in the season. I think the first weekend.
Well, he's of the he's in that Coop conversation, like that Cooper Williams, like got to throw strikes. DJ Primo got to throw strikes.
Right.
And Jacob Myers, elite stuff. Led, I think he was in the Southland, led them in strikeouts. Yep. What was he with Nichols? Yeah, had 100 plus. I think he had 105 strikeouts, but he also had 80 walks.
Well, and then you got this guy recovering from injury. Sheeran, Devin Sheeran, the transfer from what was it, Mount St. Mary's?
Yeah, he was gonna. Yeah, he tore his ACL in the off. I mean, tore his ACL in the off season.
Yeah.
So he's working back, and Jay Johnson's quotes, and he has a bazooka. So I don't know when you'll be able to. I don't think you'll see him this year.
Okay.
But somebody that also, like, that's a part of the injury thing where you don't really think about it.
Right.
But he definitely was going to play a factor in what you did with your pitching staff. And I don't know how he's working back. Obviously, last year it got to the point where it felt like if you get out of the North Carolina Regional, like, Shores was going to pitch.
Right.
And so it could be that type of timeline where if you get to the end of the year, it's like, how you feeling, bud?
Right.
Like 8 months? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it works out. But with the depth that LSU has in pitching, the way this defense is playing right now, whether it's the infield or the outfield, I mean, they're making plays every single inning, it feels like. Like a play that isn't just routine, they make it look routine. Whether it's Stanfield, Brown, Curiel, Pearson making something happen in the outfield the way they have, or, I mean, Dickinson, just, I mean, putting on a clinic.
I guess if you want to talk, you got to do good, bad, and the ugly. Ugly is the catching spot right now.
Yep.
Like, you want to see BD get going, but it's tough to put him back there because Saturday, struggled behind the plate.
Right.
A lot of pass balls that they were calling, quote unquote, could have been wild pitches, but you got to be able to kind of stick your nose in there and knock them down.
Right.
And so it's becoming,
especially when that's kind of
that's his thing.
Your thing, yeah.
But that's obviously moving fast for him right now as a freshman behind the dish. But you have something that feels okay with Hernandez behind there. But he's if he can get it going offensively, then you continue to look at a lineup 1 through 9 that goes, woof. Because if Stanfield, for me, it's hard to. At some point, you just have to realize what you have with Curiel, and this might be who he is.
Yes.
He might be able to hit over 300 as a freshman. I'm holding out hope.
Right. So the
but
level of
you're going to hit the freshman wall at some point,
right,
where it becomes I've never played this many games before, and then the SEC play. He's going to struggle at some point. Same thing with Dickinson, where you feel good about where he is in the lineup and protecting Bear and being able to. He's working pull side way too often, and you saw him shift it, and he was able to beat the shift on hit that ball probably 60 miles an hour, but there was nobody there.
He probably could have been slower than that.
But Nubs one to the second base side is able to work the other way, and those are the things that you just have to look at because those are the struggles. If you have a guy that's working pool side so often, but Dickinson's able to hit it over the wall. Milam's hot right now.
Right.
They're all kind of clicking at the right time for this type of baseball to be played, where you're leaving. People are going to complain that you left over 10 runners on every game. But you're still scoring an obscene amount of runs, and that's what this team is built to do, is just put pressure on you. And also, I think it was Saturday, the wind was blowing in.
Yes.
Because Bear Jones tattooed one that
Lynn
Rollins was probably calling a home run.
Pucker up. He was puckered. Didn't get over.
No.
But Brian Burgess in the chat asks, does it bother you guys that LSU is last in the SEC in home runs?
No.
Yeah, no, I mean, not really. I mean, obviously you would like to see them get some more balls out, but
once the weather heats up, wind starts blowing out in the box,
right,
you'll see some balls fly. But they have the ability to, whether it's, you're not going to have what you had with 2023. I think they led the country in home runs, or at least led the SEC in home runs.
Still crushed them last year as well, but that was kind of
that was your feast or famine.
Right.
They're not built like last year's team.
No, not
and
at
you
all.
can see that. This is the style of baseball they're going to play, especially with Stanfield in there and Curiel. They can all run.
Oh, my gosh.
Jake Brown can scoot.
Stephen Milam. Dickinson.
All of them.
I mean, just go down the list.
So they're just going to constantly put pressure on you. Even Bear Jones is stealing bags.
We got to think about that. They're scoring all these runs, hitting 1, maybe 2 home run here and there. I'm impressed as long as that they continue to score runs without needing 4 home runs a game like last year.
But they were all solo shots.
Last year you needed 5 home runs to even be competitive in the baseball game because they were all solo shots because you couldn't get on base.
I'm interested to see I guess if we're going to continue, I don't want to say down the the ugly path. You need one of these guys at third base to step up. Broswell hit over 300 in the SEC last year. I think he hit 300. Or 300, or around 301.
Yeah.
But you need him to start heating up because that's your weakest part of the lineup right now is that 8-hole spot where you try to get Tanner Reeves in. Feels like he's pressing a little bit to put some offensive numbers up because he knows that spot's available as of now.
Right.
But at some point, I expect Broswell to heat up and be able to he doesn't hit for power, but he's able to get base hits where he hits 300, we'll take it. But between him, Reeves, and Mikey Ryan even got some run.
Yeah.
That's the spot where if you had to circle one position that you're looking at going,
100%.
need a little bit more productivity from there. But Broswell has played a good third base.
Right. It's just
needs
the offense.
Yeah, you need the offense to pick up a little bit. But that offense that they rolled out, this lineup, the way that they have it staggered is a problem Well, yeah,
100%.
Creel, Jones, Dickinson, and I love to see Fry get some run. Love to see Jake Brown. Like, those are guys that I wish they played third.
Right, 100%.
But your outfield stacks. Pearson is obviously a guy that, like, Jay Johnson can't quit. That's it. That's his.
Well, and I mean, you see why. Like, he won the MVP of the weekend, and it shouldn't have even been close because he was.
But that's
reliable.
That's your Riley Cooper on offense now. Like, if there's ever a moment, like, stick him in there. I trust him with my life.
Well, and I thought that Pearson's answer in the presser after game one, where he was kind of walking everyone through his mindset and the way he goes about things, they're like, how are you able to always stay ready? And he says, we actually showed this to the basketball team yesterday because it was just, how are you able to stay ready? He says, well, when I'm not in the lineup, I pick a spot where I think I would be, and I go through the routine as if I'm batting in that spot. So then
stays locked in.
Whenever he gets the opportunity, because he's going to continue to get the opportunity. Like, you can bet on it. If he's not in the lineup and there's a big-time hit coming up with one of these guys that's not performing well at the plate, this is the guy that Jay's going to select. Because, I mean, 6 hits, 2 RBIs, 7 runs. I think in that Nebraska game, he started the game with back-to-back leadoff doubles. Just continued to make plays. And
6 of 8, 3 walks, 7 runs scored, 2 ribbies.
Come on.
And he's just kind of.
And those two, and to me, one of those RBI was to give him to tie it up against Nebraska. He was 5-4. He goes to the plate. He rips one, gets LSU back in that baseball game. I mean, just so impressed with the way Pearson did. I love, and I like, to me, the lineup. I liked, obviously, to me, the first 3 are kind of set right now, where you're going Curiel, Jones, Dickinson. I liked Fry in the 4 spot. And then Pearson right there. I mean,
yeah, this was the lineup.
It's an embarrassment of riches. Let's hear it.
What?
The lineup?
I was just going to say, like, the way that this lineup is constructed right now, you feel very good about it, just because of the way that you were looking for somebody to be able to protect Bear Jones. Like, that was the thing that you had the biggest question mark about, like, who's going to be able to do it offensively. Right. And while it hasn't necessarily, like, you were looking for somebody that maybe had a little bit of pop, Dickinson's proven to be that guy regardless of if it's a home run, but he's a threat every time he comes up, to where, like Jay Johnson said it best, like, you want to put Bear Jones on good.
Right.
Like, what, Dickinson have, 5 RBI in that game?
Dickinson made you pay every single time. Like, please intentionally walk him. Mm-hmm. And so it was a very good weekend for LSU baseball. I think there's some things, like Lloyd said, that you want to look at, kind of evaluate, and hope to see them pick up as the week goes on. This is going to be another big week for them because, like I said, you got 5 games in 6 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you're going to stretch that bullpen out a little bit more. But, I mean, we had fun watching. Talk about these fellas.
The chemistry's off the charts.
Dude. Awesome. It's really special, man. It's special.
Yeah, the boys are having a good time.
The boys are being boys.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to see. I mean, as serious as they're going to take this season, it's when they're still themselves that you know it's special. Because sometimes you can be too serious and psych yourself out.
Yeah, because
these guys are still being themselves.
They know what they're playing for. Like,
100%.
This is a team that is, their expectations are national championship.
100%, and they should be, because this is a very good baseball team. I think the LSU-Tennessee series already had a circle around it preseason. I think now you've probably circled it 2 or 3 more times on your refrigerator, because it's going to be a big one. So, big week for LSU baseball. Obviously, a fun weekend as they go 3-0 in the Frisco Classic, brought to you by D1 Baseball. I will say, I thought D1 Baseball did a good job. Once the deal got out of the way. That had to be
a brutal spot to be.
It was a brutal spot to start. They rolled with the punches. They made it happen. I thought having Ben on the call
was great.
Excellent. Great choice. Obviously, some of the camera angles, like the fact that they completely missed the Milam Dickinson play.
Eads had a great. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, Eads blew up off of it because he's the only. Like, he got the.
Yeah, it was like the Zapruder film. You couldn't find it.
Right. And, well, the worst part for D1 Baseball is they missed it originally, and then they went back to the replay, and they only got the first baseman catching it. But this play right here,
This is sex. Oh, flip, bare hand, turn, throw, fire. That's so good.
It is unbelievable.
Stanfield's ultimate hype man, too.
Oh, my 100%. Play it again. I got to watch it again. Shout out to John Eads. This is
great coverage all weekend.
Such good video, and he's been crushing it.
Yes, sir. I mean, this is like the montage when, like, Major League, when they get rolling.
I think I have, chills right now watching it again.
Ugh. This is filth.
Because not only are they making the play, it's the swag they have.
Yeah.
Look how confident.
You know how good you have to be playing for this to even be a thought?
Not only is it a thought, it looked like it was muscle memory.
I'm saying, like, when you play middle infield, this is what you dream of. Like, the opportunity, this opportunity doesn't happen often, but to be able to execute it and be like, we're both in sync as to what we're about to do here. Like, easy flip. You're calling for ball off your mind. I'm like, flip it. And execute is unreal.
And he rips it. I mean,
I'm saying, it's 2 short stops.
This is so impressive. You could watch it on repeat. Shout out to Johnny.
Look at Stanfield in the back. Like, Bear Jones is fired up. The boys are clicking. Yeah.
Same thing also on the relay play. Like, when they call him out, Bear almost calls him out at the same time.
There was somebody covering third.
It was unbelievable. But, I mean, just this LSU defense is balling right now. I would be hard-pressed to find a defense in the country playing better than the way LSU's playing defense behind their pitchers.
And this will get lost, too.
Which one?
The snag that Milam made.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, LSU, don't get it twisted. We can. This was not easy.
What would you say Milam's height is?
5'6".
It's probably
6.
I mean, he's playing
taller than Jay.
Yes, but I mean, it don't matter. I mean that's a pretty high vertical. He's up. Make it happen. You got to be so confident, and that's why, like, I think this walk issue, the base on balls, the hit by pitch thing, will get ironed out. Because now the confidence is continuing to rise in the guys behind you. Just put it over the plate. Mm-hmm. And whatever happens, happens. Especially in a field like that where the balls really weren't going out. It was such a good weekend for LSU baseball, especially defensively. Don't forget, obviously you see this little pullover I got on this morning. I got the dog on the shoulder. What shoulder is it? This shoulder. Or is it this shoulder?
That
this
one.
Shoulder, right here. It's a little hard to see in the gray.
Not so hard to see in the purple.
Not too hard to see. Pet that dog.
Can I pet that dog?
Roback, shout out. They sent another little box for the boys this weekend to get y'all ready. So make sure you go to roback.com, get some LSU gear while you're still dealing with this kind of wintry weather.
A little blustery.
For some LSU baseball. You got 5 games in the box this week with Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Go to roback.com. Tigers, Tigers, for 20% off. Get this bad boy right here. Be warm, bundled up, and ready to go this week, as LSU takes on North Dakota State and who's the other team? North Alabama in Alec Bach Stadium. Big time weekend, big time stuff from Roback. I mean, this is just, it's top quality. It's beautiful. I love Sailor Mike. Sailor Mike's my favorite logo in the whole entire world. And this is just so comfortable, so warm, cozy. Tigers, Tigers for 20% off.
I was wearing people out with this. We did like a little impromptu watch party for the LSU baseball game. I was wearing this.
Of course.
I was like, promo code Tigers, Roback 20% off. And everything I was doing, I was like, don't forget, Roback 20% off.
Great work.
And they were like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And I was like, feel it. I go, feel it.
If you feel like, I wish y'all could reach through the screen and feel this hoodie.
It's so comfortable. I've been taking it off all weekend.
Top stuff. Fidget asks, how's the weather looking for Tuesday, Wednesday? I'll get your weather report here. Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
Weather boy.
Tuesday, we got some rain tomorrow, looks like. Chance of rain, 60% at 3 p.m. Hopefully it'll clear. It should clear out about 7. What time is the game on Tuesday? The game on Tuesday is at 6:30. So the rain should stop in time for the game, but we'll see.
There's some Roback on.
Wednesday, and of course with the rain on Tuesday, be a little bit colder on Wednesday with a low of 47, high of 65.
There's some Roback on.
First pitch at 6:30. The weather is going to be about 57 degrees.
Throw some Roback on.
Throw some Roback on. Tigers 20. Tigers, Tigers for 20% off. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more here as we set up hour number 2 of the Jordy Culotta Show.
Red Stick
Red
Sports.
Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
48 Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life and health insurance needs. Around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at 48agency.com. Whatever insurance you're in the market for, home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health, get in touch with 48 Insurance Agency, 48agency.com, or give them a call at 225-383-0682. 48 Agency.
Get Gordon. And get it done. Yeah, everybody know Gordon in a 225. He done leave with big foe. He got buku ties, Ferrari sliding, flying in a new coupe ride. And every time I ride by, I see a brand new sign. I'm a Gordon, I know that he gon' get it done. Whether it's a big truck crash or a hit and run, recovery funds, he fighting to get a ton. Mike Epps, man, we all about the Benjamin. Handling injuries, man, are you kidding me? Gordon McKernan, that's champion energy. Yeah, family man with a family plan. Get Gordon, he gon' fix it like a handyman. Get Gordon, and get it done.
Welcome to Trifecta.
Trifecta Sports Therapy in Baton Rouge. Recover, repair, restore. At Trifecta, they believe in total body wellness. Trifecta gets the body back to its full potential. Whether you're a youth or pro athlete, a pre or postnatal mom, or if you lead an active lifestyle or a senior citizen, Trifecta has the class, the sports massage, the sports therapist, the stretch therapist, or the equipment like infrared sauna, cold plunges, and golf simulators to find your best. Find Trifecta online at trifectasportstherapy.com or check out the beautiful facility today, 8221 Goodwood. Trifecta Sports Therapy.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff,
where everyone is family.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. They say that life's a marathon, man, shout out to Nip. They start to think you falling off and they starting to flip. Circumstances start to change and they jumping the ship. Only ones that really matter who's tied to your hip. They tried to push you to the side cause they thought you would quit. May bend but never break, your cloth is legit. When you return in rare form, they all gonna be sick. You ever seen a living legend, just know that I'm it. Slow grind like IT, just know that I'm it. Now I'm back up in my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce the bat like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash.
All right, welcome back in here. Hour number 2 getting started on this beautiful Monday. Good. It feels like it doesn't feel like a Monday for some reason. I guess it's because such a good weekend of baseball.
Yeah,
I'm not.
And Thursday felt like Friday to me.
Well, Wednesday is going to feel like Friday this week for you.
Oh yeah, the birthday.
Lloyd is turning.
I don't know. 92.
92 on Wednesday.
This is what year I was born.
Make sure you text him at 31. I'm kidding.
I think they all have my number.
They probably all do already because it got
leaked.
Doxed.
I did. That was the interesting experience. Is in Omaha, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" I'm in a group chat. I'm in like 50 group chats now, and I had 130 text messages. Like,
well, if you have Lloyd's number, shoot him a text on Wednesday. Sure. As he turns 92.
Yeah.
Create a group chat or something.
Take it back to 92, dog.
Come on.
I did have a loaner from the dealership. These 2025 cars are insane.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was behind me this morning.
It was me.
Because I was pulling in and I was like, is he not here yet?
We were both rolling caravan.
There you are.
But I drove in from Alexandria today. And you can do like lane assist with the cruise control with the buffer. So like
it'll hit the brakes for you.
I could have slept the entire way.
It's the best.
And they get mad at you if you don't touch the steering wheel. But I was like, I wasn't doing.
Did the steering wheel start rocking on you?
Yeah, but like I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting in the car, and I was like, this is insane.
No, I
wish you didn't have to.
If it was just self-drive.
I was just kind of like this.
Yeah, I drove back from Houston last year. Went to the Astros.
But we're close to self-driving.
Game. Yes. Well, the Teslas do have it. Well, my dad's been going on these work trips. Like into California and stuff like that.
California.
And they have the Ubers. It's the Jaguar that self-drives. And so you're literally sitting in the backseat of that car with no one else in there, and it's driving you from place to place.
See, that makes people nervous. I would be thrilled.
I'll have to send you I'll send you one of the videos.
Because I've seen it where people get in the self-driving car and they don't know what it is, and they're like, what's happening?
Right.
Totally understandable. If you're aware, though, of like what could be better than like, you know how much time you would save?
Oh my god.
How much work you could get done in the car in a commute? Like if I was able to not have to drive today the 2 hours, like I could have. I was up at 4:30, but I didn't get much work done because
I'm one to be nervous about it. Like I like being in control. Like I really don't even like riding with people. Like I prefer being behind the wheel.
Oh yeah, you have a sorted experience as a driver.
Right. And so like I don't think I would be big on the self-driving. But when I made the trip back from Houston, I had the lane assist, the brake buffer, and cruise control all on, and I was just, kind of kick back, relax, let the car just keep on rolling through.
It's incredible.
Because when you're on the interstate, it's nothing.
Nothing.
But like I'll even do it when I'm like not on the interstate.
Oh, yeah. Like this thing is about, whenever I took it off, I was like, oh, fuck, I have to drive.
Yeah.
Like you forget that you have to do stuff.
Wake back
like
up.
steer. Because it'll just kind of like take you. It knows what it's looking at.
Right.
It's insane.
It's unbelievable.
But that, yeah, so.
Welcome to the future, Lloyd.
That was excellent.
Yep. So, I mean, I'm sure that made your drive
so much easier.
So much easier this morning.
Oh, Toonie was riding shotgun.
Of course. Toonie could have drove.
She did. Toonsis, driving cat.
There you go. But speaking of this weekend, obviously, today's not feeling like a Monday because of LSU baseball success. LSU women's basketball did not share that success this past week, really. I mean, this is back-to-back losses for the Tigers as they lose the close one to Alabama in overtime on Thursday. They turn around yesterday. They're winning by 15 in the third. What do you have?
Nothing I could share here. That was little Bourbon Street.
Ah, nice. LSU women's basketball up by 15 in the third quarter, and they lose by 8 yesterday to Ole Miss. Not the prettiest game. There is some nice new announcements. Anissa is one of the only players. I think she might be one of two to get 100 double doubles. She achieved that yesterday. The big piece of news for LSU women's basketball before we get into the game and the performance is Flau'jae Johnson is being held out through obviously yesterday through the SEC tournament up until March Madness, essentially. She's not going to play again until the NCAA tournament. She has shin inflammation. Mulkey went in her post-game presser and said this is not Flau'jae saying she doesn't want to play. This is not the doctor saying she can't play. This is a Kim Mulkey decision of we're going to hold her out. This is the same injury that she had while she was questionable before the Texas game that she ended up playing ultimately. She gets held out yesterday. You could definitely tell they missed her. But the reason this is happening is because, and Kim Mulkey said it really doesn't matter at this point. You know, LSU already has the 3 seed in the SEC locked up. So they're already going to be in the quarterfinals, will be their first game of the SEC tournament. And really, regardless of what they do in the SEC tournament, they're going to be a top 4 seed in March. You know, right now they're projected as a 2 seed. The top 4 seeds get home playoff games or home March Madness games. So I don't think there's really a chance of them dropping outside of that. I think if there was, Mulkey wouldn't be making this decision. I think this is the right play. There's nothing you can truly gain out of going through this SEC tournament other than maybe jumping to a 1 seed, but probably not. And I really think Mulkey wouldn't be upset if they play that quarterfinal game and they just lose it. And you can let everyone get healthy ahead of the tournament because there's been some bumps and bruises here and there as Flau'jae's now missing games. Anissa missed a game. There's been some injuries throughout the bench. And I think one of the big opportunities with this for LSU is it's going to get a lot of these bench players some real opportunity.
That's what I was going to say. Is like if anything, you can maybe find a little bit of a depth piece for you because you had, I mean, last year Poa played 19 minutes and scored, 1 for 3 from the field, 2 points.
Yep, 2 points.
3 assists.
Gilbert had 11, 4 of 10.
That's who, I mean, I'm enamored by Kaylin Gilbert just because of the instant offense that she had. She played 26 minutes. 4 of 10 from the field, but that's who you like. Obviously, that's who you've been kind of looking to as your sixth person, and she's getting some run as 6th man of the year, 6th woman of the year. Obviously, you saw the comeuppance of Miracle Shepherd.
Yes, I think that's what I was about to say.
Because it feels like you kind of know what you have,
right? And
like
I think
between
Miracle,
it's between those 3,
right? And I think Miracle is playing to the best of her abilities as of late. I mean, you got to think about it. She got 5 rebounds yesterday, 1 of them being offensive. She only turned the ball over twice. She had 4 steals. So although she turned the ball over twice, she forced 4 strictly off of steals. And she scored 8 points. She had a nice little mid-range jump shot. She made 2 free throws. She's just made a lot of big plays that aren't always going to show up in the stat sheet in these last 2 games, although they've been losses. I think her, kind of surge onto the scene for LSU is going to be big as they go through March. But obviously you're led yesterday by Anissa and Michaela with 28 and 25, both shooting 50% or above from the field. Anissa had 28 and 12. But the story of the night is turnovers. Although Michaela had 25 points and 5 assists, she had 6 turnovers. Gilbert with 5, Day Wilson with 4. That is 15 turnovers from your 3 main ball handlers. 23 total as a team. That's not going to beat anybody. That's the reason why they lost. Not because Flaugier wasn't on the court. As much as you did miss the transition points, the defense, the energy that she brings, they lost the game because they turned the ball over 23 times. I mean, when you're looking at just the total, the team stats, let me see if I can find it.
Oh, I've got them.
Yeah, what were the teams? How many? What were the field goal attempts for LSU? Field goal attempts for Ole Miss?
So for the game,
yes,
LSU was 26 of 53, shooting 49%. Ole Miss was 30 of 70.
So Ole Miss got 17 more shots on the rim.
70 shots is crazy.
Than LSU, and they turned the ball over 15 times, but LSU turns the ball over 23 times, and it gives Ole Miss 17 more opportunities on the rim. Like that. It's hard to win when you're giving them 17 more chances.
14 turnovers in the second half. And I want to ask you this, because we had Schwartz on last week. We've had him on multiple times.
Right.
And while we've been more, I think more of the conversation has been about what style of play do you want to see this? Obviously, they got another big lead where they've done that multiple times. You let teams back in, and we don't know if it's a depth issue or if they're tired, whatever it may be. That's been a lot of the conversation, and what they do defensively has been a lot of the conversation where he talks about trying to get kills in games where it's 3 straight possessions for the other, like you hold them without points for 3 straight trips down the court, 3 straight stops. But now it's starting to become, how is this happening? How are the kills happening to you offensively? Where LSU is like, this might be who they are, because the turnovers are continuing to be an issue.
Yep.
And I really don't know how they are going to avoid it from here on. Like the more you play better teams, like Ole Miss, 19-9, 10-6 in the conference, but.
Well, to me,
I don't know if you can. I still have them as like a national championship contender, but they can't turn it over 23 times, 14 times in the second half. Clearly, that's an issue.
You're up by 15 with around 9 minutes left in the third quarter, and you have 14 turnovers in the second half. I mean, it's going to beat nobody. Like, you can maybe skate by your first round game, turning the ball over that much. Maybe your second round game, that's it.
27 points off turnovers and 38 points in the paint.
And what was Ole Miss's offensive rebounds and second chance points?
Hold on.
Because I'm pretty sure LSU lost the offensive rebound battle, which also does not bode well for the Tigers.
Yeah, they had 19 second chance points.
Yep.
27 off the bench for Ole Miss. 2 fast break points.
Yep.
38 points in the paint.
It's hard to win basketball games like that. Offensive rebounds, Ole Miss had 16, LSU had 10. When you think about when LSU was playing its best basketball, they were dominating on the offensive glass, and they weren't turning the basketball over. When you look at this last stretch of games where they've played good basketball teams, when you're talking about Texas, Alabama, Kentucky, Ole Miss, like those are 4 pretty solid basketball teams. Texas is the only one better than you. And you haven't taken care of the basketball and you've gotten beat on the glass.
Well, I don't know if they have an answer for, like, what it's Morrow and Samaya Smith. That's what you have as bigs. You 100%. Haven't gotten a lot out of Wolfenberger.
Right, or Del Rosario.
Del Rosario's been at MIA.
Yep.
And so if you're going to play this style of basketball where you go small, essentially, then you can't turn it over because you're going to that's an easy offensive game plan for anybody that you play is like dump it inside.
100%.
And you saw it happen to you your last 2 games that you've lost. It's been you're getting beat inside and you ran into a great shooting performance in the first loss.
Right.
But I didn't watch this game. I didn't get to see as much of it as I wanted to because I was watching the baseball game. But it just feels like this is the same. Like I feel like I know who LSU basketball is.
Right. 100%.
And it'll get you as far as you want to go. But I still haven't seen them play their best ball yet.
Not yet. Not at all. And to me, the worst part is the same way you know who LSU basketball is, every opponent they face also does. Ole Miss had a very similar game plan to what Kentucky did. I mean, not Kentucky. Texas did, where they were in your face, pressuring the ball, making you make the mistake. whether the mistake is a turnover or a bad shot. I will say it again. To me, this team takes really bad shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the shot selection is one piece where if you just cleaned it up, and like there's one shot particularly that's like ingrained in my brain where Gilbert kind of drives in on three or four people and stops at the elbow and is just surrounded by Ole Miss defenders. And one quick rip of the ball, pivot out, kick out, let the offense run again would have solved the problem. But instead, it's a launch shot at the rim that's got no chance, bounces off, Ole Miss rebound, they're running the floor. If LSU just took a beat and swung the ball back out and gave themselves more opportunities rather than just throwing the first thing they see at the rim, it'd be a different game. But to me, and like some of the chat saying, it all comes back to one problem, and that's depth. The reason that you're having turnovers from Gilbert, Williams, and Day Wilson is because they're playing the whole game and the ball's in their hand more than anyone else on the court. You got 38 minutes for Michaela Williams, 38 for Anissa Morrow, 30 for Samaya Smith. It was stretched out a little bit more this game, and that's one thing that I'm looking forward to in the next game or two ahead of March Madness as Flau'jae heals from her injury, is getting these depth pieces some more minutes because you need them. Because right now, this is your Achilles heel, is it's the fact that you can't take these players off the floor. And it's turning into lackadaisical defense, bad box outs, offensive turnovers, bad shots. Those four things are the death to any team. I don't care how good you are. If you take bad shots, you don't block out, you turn the ball over, and you aren't taking defense as seriously as you should, you're not going to win basketball games. And so it's going to be a big-time week or two getting ready for the NCAA tournament to figure those things out. Because they have a real opportunity. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't think this team is good, because I do. This is a good basketball team when they're playing the way they should play. But the thing that they haven't done these last couple of weeks is play that way. And right now, I would be hard-pressed to expect anything else from them. And if the team that I watched play these last two games, including yesterday, goes into the SEC tournament and into March, I don't know how far they're going to make it. Because right now, you're not going to win off of sheer skill and talent, because there's a lot of other good teams in the country.
Yeah, once you get to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I mean, the first two rounds, once you leave your home arena, and
right,
you're
that's
going
where the tournament
to Spokane,
starts.
To me, I would be hard pressed to expect an LSU win if this is the team that's playing.
Because realistically, you can with women's college basketball, you can kind of do the before the year thing,
right?
Where you can look at probably circle 6 to 8 teams, like these are the teams that have a realistic chance to win the tournament.
Yep.
Because that's like the depth throughout the league just isn't like throughout the sport isn't there. Like you have very much the haves and the have-nots of college basketball, especially in the women's game, and LSU was in that conversation.
Right.
But once you get into those games where you play UCLA, USC, South Carolina, Texas, you start going, okay, they're better than a lot of the teams around the country. But when you get to, I would say, Elite Eight, that's when this tournament starts, especially for LSU basketball. If they're able to play and play well, they should be in the Elite Eight, and that's when you'll see some of these issues that LSU has. It feels like when you watch it, especially watching the game with you, because you coached this year,
right,
and you played basketball, it feels like the offensive sets that they run, it just isn't as they don't draw anything up to get easy buckets, and it becomes a lot of ISO basketball. It feels like watching like the first year with the Miami Heat when it was Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James. It was just kind of like hot potato. Here you take it, here you go, and it was a lot of ISO basketball where they're not playing together. And when LSU won the national championship in 2023, the unsung hero of that team was Alexis Morris.
100%.
She was able to run the point. LSU hasn't had a point guard since. But her ability to run the point, kind of control the flow of the game, and the defense that she played that year was like, go back and watch it. Like, you could talk about Angel Reese all you want. Like, Alexis Morris was the engine of that team.
Yes.
And you don't have that this year. Like, I think Flau'jae is giving you a lot of what you see defensively because she's able to put pressure on the basketball, get steals. But now without her, and getting her healthy is huge. But you're still looking for, on the offensive side of the court, like, there has got to be a different way to be able to score points aside from just ISO basketball. Because that's what it's a lot of, even when they get the lead, and I'll ask Schwartz about this when he comes on again, because this is the issue with me. He's like, they don't talk about running offensive plays whenever they have a 15-point lead. They're like, they're talking about the clock a lot. We don't want to get going until, like, they're trying to almost bide time, like, just run it out, as opposed to, like, well, you can run sets and score points and continue instead of playing this waiting game where you're like,
play defense.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, we're up 15. Well, now we're up 8, but we chewed 4 minutes off the clock. Like that, you can still play basketball.
Yeah,
and be able to run some things offensively to where you can score points and kind of keep that lead. You don't want it to be this game of runs that you continue to go on. Where like we're up 15 now. When we get to the fourth quarter, like we're up 6. Like that's not really sustainable because if you run, then you'd have to try to kick it back into gear where you're trying to score offensively again and go fast, and it becomes disjointed. That's my biggest issue with the women's team is the strategy at this point of like you get up 15, like keep doing what you did to get up 15, get up 30, and 100%. then you can have the 30-30-30 club.
100%.
But that's like they have to figure that thing out.
Yeah, because 15 is not in basketball. 15 is not a comfortable lead. 2 threes and it's a 9-point ball game.
Right, and he said it. That Schwartz said the same thing. You're trying to always cut it to 12, 10. Once you get single digits, like game on.
So why, when LSU's on offense, are we comfortable with 15? Shouldn't be. And then the worst part is one of the plays that I was actually able to, because we were at basketball practice, I rewatched the game after. But one of the plays I watched live, LSU's down, I think 76, 78, I think was the score, or 75, 78. It's a 3-point ball game. LSU needs to go score. They get the ball to Anissa Morrow, and she jumps off of one leg for a little float that she makes off of 1 foot charge going the other way. A simple 2-foot jump stop floater, that's 2 points. We're going back. We're still playing. It's a 1-point game now. We're playing basketball. But leaps off 2 like if you can get some of those fundamental things figured out, it'll solve some problems. I'm looking at the bracket projections right now. It has LSU as a 2 seed in the Region 2 Spokane. So LSU would play, obviously, in Baton Rouge the first 2 games. LSU versus Southeastern projected as the 2 versus 15. Then they would play the winner of Louisville versus Nebraska. We'll just go with chalk for the sake of this. So they would play Louisville in the round of 32, who's a 7 seed, a pretty good basketball program. If LSU wins there, they would play, if it's chalk, the 3 seed in the Fort Worth section, which is TCU. So they would take on TCU in the Sweet 16, which is obviously where Haley Van Lith has gone to play basketball. And I like someone said in the chat, Joe Summers says, and Haley Van Lith is winning the Big 12 with TCU. TCU is a very good basketball team because the Big 12 is not a bad basketball conference, and they obviously are the regular season champions. Haley Van Lith is playing very good basketball right now for the Horned Frogs. That's to me, that's right now the LSU team I watched yesterday and against Alabama versus the TCU team that plays week in, week out. I can't say LSU would be favored in that matchup. Now, I'm not saying I think they'll lose, but I'm just saying I don't think if you win on DraftKings, LSU would be favored in that matchup. If they win that, obviously you're in the Elite Eight against USC, who has one of the best players in the country in Juju Watkins. And then from then on, if you win that, it's going to be a mix of Texas, NC State, South Carolina, UConn, something like that on the other side of the bracket. So it's going to be tough for LSU. And like I said, I mean, if it's chalk and you take on TCU in the Sweet 16, I don't think LSU is going to be favored in that matchup. Just saying, unless something changes between now and then, the team I watched yesterday and on Thursday against Alabama and Ole Miss, I would be hard-pressed to think that they would be favored because they're just not playing good basketball. But the good thing is Some of these problems are very easy to fix. Now, depth isn't something that you can just solve. Depth has to work itself out, and the fact that it hasn't worked out up to this point, I'm not going to say that it will, but I do think there's a real opportunity with some playing time up for grabs for somebody to step up and take it. And I think Gilbert obviously is the first name, like Lloyd said. I think Miracle Shepherd has done a great job. But to me, the depth more or less needs to come from these bigs. Del Rosario and Wolfenbarger have to step up and bring some sort of energy and presence to this team.
Jersey Wolfenbarger played 5 minutes. Del Rosario played 1:23. Like, who's
not going to get it done.
Smith? Like, especially with the way the women's game's officiated, like, it's tough to have a game that you can pencil in and say Samaya Smith's going to play 30 minutes.
Right.
Like,
Samaya finishes the game
with Laura 5 fouls.
3 fouls, and Anissa has 5. And they're in foul trouble every game because they're having to play 40 minutes. It's going to be tough. It's crazy going from talking about LSU baseball, where the strength of that team is the depth in the bullpen, the depth in the outfield, all of those things, to women's basketball where there's no depth.
And it's also like a tale of two seasons at this point. Like LSU baseball couldn't be hotter at the moment, and you're seeing the grind of a college basketball season. But with LSU, they're going into the tournament absolutely playing their worst basketball of the year.
100%. Which is because even when you lost to South Carolina in January, you didn't feel bad about it because you were still playing good basketball, and right now you're not. And I think some of the depth issues are, you know how many freshmen you brought in this season, this past recruiting cycle? Lloyd, do you know how many freshmen there are on this team from the last recruiting cycle that high school recruitment freshmen that you brought in? If you don't know, you brought in 1. It's Jada Richard, who, to
Louisiana
me, next season,
basketball.
She 100%, you needed her. I think next season she's going to play such a huge role for them. I wish maybe she got some more minutes because of what you need from the guards. But she's a special talent, but you only brought in 1. And then when it comes to transfers, Jersey Wolfenbarger has not really been what you expected. Day Wilson has been kind of hit or miss, where you look at the Kentucky game and she played such a huge role in that win. And then last night she played 12 minutes. You look at Kaylin Gilbert, who earlier in the season, both games against Tennessee, huge roles, and has played great basketball for you. As of late, she just has not played well. Miracle Shepherd is finally kind of finding her role and her way onto the court, which I think is a good thing for LSU. Those are your transfers. And then when you look at your freshmen from 2 years ago, where you have Michaela Williams, obviously, star, but Del Rosario can't see the court. There's been some misses and some lack of development, which is what's caused the depth issue. It's the fact that your transfer in Anissa Morrow has had to come in and play every minute of every game since she's been here. Flau'jae Johnson's had to play almost every minute of every game since she's been here. Michaela Williams has had to play every minute of every game since she's been here. And you're just kind of mix and matching who else is going to get some run. And since Samaya Smith's come back from injury, almost every minute of almost every game because you have no depth. So as much as I've said for men's basketball, this is a big offseason. The pressure's not on Kim like it is McMahon because Kim Mulkey is one of the all-time greats and won a national championship already and is still pushing out a winner. She has to add some depth. She's obviously done such a good job in high school recruiting. This next group of transfer commitments needs to be big time. Like, big time, that can come in and play. Because Anissa's gone. I think Poe is gone. You can't count on some of these girls like Del Rosario to step up if they haven't yet. You got to make something happen. So it's going to be a big offseason, but it's also going to be a big month of March for the Tigers that they set up.
Flau'jae comes back, huh?
Yeah, she'll be back for the NCAA tournament.
No, I'm talking about next year.
I would assume it's very rare for
you saw it once.
Women's basketball players to leave early just because there's not much money. But with the way brand deals in the league is moving in the WNBA, she could.
Yeah, she'll be an asset. Like, she'll be somebody like you saw what happened with Angel Reese and how much she blew up, whether it be on the court or off the court. Like, yeah, Flau'jae will have that option to be able, if she wants to continue her career, whether it be in basketball or continue to be like this media mogul that she is. But
superstar.
I would expect her to, because of the rise that she's made as a basketball player, I expect her to come back and continue. Like, there's no reason for her to quit playing ball. Like, I understand like what she does off the court and how much that's probably at this point more lucrative, and the way that her time is split up is insane. But I think that's all part of her brand as being a basketball player too.
Right.
But that's next year. This year, if she's able to come back and get healthy. But it is interesting that they're kind of punting on the SEC tournament when I guess that loss means you definitely didn't have a chance. Even if you win the SEC tournament,
you're not going to be a one seed.
Yeah, so it's a blessing in disguise. Yeah, to be able to get healthy, and they kind of needed this time. Like, they don't play for a week, and it feels like it's the perfect time for them to get healthy, get kind of just like their house in order a little bit, and it's a perfect time to self-scout, reevaluate, and be able to move forward, whether it be in the SEC tournament just to play a little bit better or just to get kind of some sort of rhythm. Because like as much as like we're kind of bagging on them, they were up 15 again. Like that's what's so frustrating about
Close it out.
Is that they're one of the best teams in the country. You're up 15 against the number one team in the country this year.
Yep. And
it wasn't that far gone. That was 3 games ago?
Yep.
That you had we watched it here. It was almost like a foregone conclusion. It's like, oh, they're up 15, 18, and then you feel like that slow death starting to set in on you, and it's kind of felt
hold.
Yeah, it's kind of felt that way since then. So they're as talented as they get in the country, but they have got to figure out a way to either close out games or find an offense that is sustainable throughout their playing time.
100%. 100%. And just looking at the roster now, Miracle Shepherd, sophomore, Flau'jae Johnson, junior, Samaya Smith, redshirt sophomore, Wolfenbarger's a junior, Michaela, sophomore. Let's see, who else?
KG's a junior.
KG's a junior, Del Rosario's a sophomore, Jada Richard, freshman. So, but to me, this week coming up for LSU women's basketball, ahead of the quarterfinal game in the SEC tournament, and then obviously you'll see what happens then and what the timeline is after that. This week is a massive stretch for this team. Like, what I mean by massive stretch is when you look back, whenever they lose or whenever the season's over, regardless if it's the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, National Championship, or if they win the whole thing, regardless, you'll look back at this stretch of this week of getting healthy, kind of recalibrating your team, getting everything straight. You'll look back and say, this was when it went right for the Tigers. And so they have a real opportunity to straighten it out and continue to be one of the best teams, but right now they're not playing like it. So I'll be excited to see the way that they do that over the next stretch and what they look like in the quarterfinal. I think the way the SEC tournament is stacked up is they'll play I think Auburn and Florida play. The winner of that will play Alabama. The winner of that will play LSU. So they very well could see Alabama, Florida. They will see Alabama, Florida, Auburn, but they very well could see Alabama again after losing to them last week. So obviously not the best stretch for LSU women's basketball, but it's going to be big going forward. We're going to take a quick break here.
Mikey Matuk on the other side just got the confirmation.
Perfect.
Yes, we're going to preview
little Mikey Mondays.
Yes, this is it's up to Mikey. My man's busy, but I believe this will be a segment moving forward. We'll have Mikey on every Monday to recap LSU baseball, and then also a little tease for what we do on Mic'd Up, which is 6 to 8 on Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Perfect. So we'll be back to talk a little LSU baseball with, LSU legend.
Pick the mood back up. Of course, LSU legend. Of course, LSU legend, Mikey Matuk.
I think he's still in the elevator. That's what he's holding on to.
You think so?
He's in the LSU baseball elevator. So once that's over, I think my run's done. But
no,
still
I think as long as that number 8 holds the weight it does.
He is he's still a legend because I go to games with him all the time, and he still gets stopped for pictures.
I can only imagine.
He still gets stopped, so he's like, it still happens.
Yep. So we'll be right back here to close out hour number 2 with Mikey Matuk. and talk some LSU baseball. Pick that mood back up. We need it.
Positive.
It's a little rough right now. Sad.
At Oxnard, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Oxnard Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Oxnard Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Family calls family. That saying resonates even more as your family grows. And we can't seem to stop growing. Meet the newest member of the Get Gordon family, Penny's cousin Rosie. Rosie already knows, the larger your family, the more people you have to lift you up during trying times. Just like at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, we've grown to over 200 team members with over 50 local attorneys. So whether you pick Penny, employ Ellie, roll with Rosie, or get Gordon, we want to be your lawyers for life.
Your lawyers for life.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdown Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
It's rare to find someone you can count on when it's go time. It's even more rare to find someone you can count on, well, all the time. At Sunshine, we're proud to offer the John Deere equipment you need and the team you can depend on and off the field. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
But we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Big step, but we can never put on the same shoes.
All right, we are back here closing out hour number 2. Lloyd, little compliments for you in the chat. Carl Dunn says, I thought they stopped to take pictures with Lloyd. And Glimmer says, Lloyd's just as recognizable.
Oh, yeah. I think it's just because I'm ugly.
Definitely
a distinct look.
Lloyd is definitely recognizable. I wouldn't say it's because you're ugly, but it's the hair and the stash.
Yeah,
it's
the look.
They're
it's the look for sure.
100%. But
speaking of famous,
we've got some LSU baseball talk here to close out the show. We've got a nice little segment here, a little Mondays with Mikey. Mikey Matuk is joining the show. Mikey, how's it going? Good to see you. It's been a while.
What's up, guys? Been a while.
What's
How
up,
do
buddy?
I look? Can you hear me?
You look beautiful.
You look great.
Perfect.
But just
oh, you got that golf course tan. I can already tell it's coming through.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that? Yeah.
It's was making
fell
the
apart in
teeth
the back
whiter.
9, but you know what? Good start.
I think as soon as I texted you, I was like, "How's it going?" You're like, not too bad.
Yeah, you
right
you
after
you
mushed you.
You mushed me. No doubt.
Uh-oh, is that a dog on the shirt? Check that dog
Is he a
out.
Roback guy?
Yeah, he's got the Roback
Oh,
on.
a little Roback.
Yeah, we've all
No
got the-
free ads.
No,
Well, we're sponsored. This show's sponsored by Roback.
Hey, okay.
We'll get you over there. We'll get the mic'd up boys
we're gonna make
sponsored
it
too.
happen. But great weekend for LSU baseball. Obviously, they were able to sweep in Frisco. They win all 3 games. Wasn't without some obstacles. But what were your major takeaways from this weekend's performance?
For me, it was a weekend that I think everybody was anticipating. You know, it was the first weekend where you had a ramp up in competition, and you had you're facing pitching staffs that had guys that threw hard, had guys that had the ability to get our offense out, and I think LSU responded extremely well. I think offensively, they played as good as you could expect them to play for the first, the 3 games this past weekend. I mean, they scored double-digit runs in 2 of the 3 games, and they did everything that you want it to be. I think the real I don't want to say question mark, but the real thing I was looking forward to most is what's going to happen when the pitching staff inevitably gets into kind of a jam. And they got that a couple times. They got in and out of it. They got put behind the 8 ball in the second game, giving up going down 5-0, and then coming back. And then obviously, I think the one thing that I don't think anybody anticipated happening was the defense being as elite as it has been. Right. They made top play after top play, and then in the game against Kansas State, obviously that perfect relay to send them into extra innings. So I think it was a great weekend for LSU. Obviously, they just got bumped up to the number 1 team in the country, and I think moving forward, that weekend is what they needed to move forward, getting into the SEC the next couple weeks.
Yeah, no, obviously it's going to be a nice little boost as they get into SEC play next week. Talking about this team, the pitching staff obviously has been the talk of the town. Just whether it's the starters, the bullpen, the closers, the whole thing. What makes this pitching staff so special in the way that they've performed throughout to this season?
There's a few things. I think the one thing, not talking about necessarily talent, but they're so deep. They have a bunch of guys that they can throw out there. They're confident to throw out there. They fill up the zone. They throw a ton of strikes, and then they obviously have, an extreme amount of talent. They have a lot of guys that throw upper 90s. You have a few freshmen that come here touching 100, and so those guys, they don't just throw hard. They know how to pitch. They have multiple pitches. Like I said, they attack the zone. They fill up the zone. They are the aggressors. They kind of set the tempo of the game, and it feels like everybody that comes in has done that, right? And I think they have a really good mix of lefties and righties, and you have a really good mix of different types of pitchers. Zach Cohen comes in there, and he's more of a pitcher. 90-93, sinker balls, really good changeup, is a pitcher, right? Can go in, out, up, down, do whatever he needs to do. And then you have guys like Rizzi, and you have guys like Case and Evans who are freshmen that throw, they're a little bit louder with their fastball. And I tell you what, boys, Case and Evans is he is a bona fide superstar in the back end of that bullpen.
Were you surprised to see them go to him back-to-back? Just because it's freshman workload? Okay.
I think that, he's, coming out of high school, he was like the 12th rated shortstop in all of Texas and like the 8th rated pitcher, right? So he's a super athlete. You can tell when he's on the mound that he is an athlete, that he didn't just pitch his whole life. And then, honestly, dude, he had that outing earlier in the week. I think it was on Monday. Oh, no, it was against Dallas.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yep. And then he had the day off, and then he threw, and he went back-to-back. And he, he did everything that they anticipated him doing. I imagine that you're going to see that role from him moving forward.
And you talk, obviously, a little bit of the freshman, like you've seen it on the pitching staff a little bit. Tough weekend for Cooper Williams, but on the offensive side, I think that the emergence of Curiel continuing to do this, obviously he was super highly touted coming out of high school, was a little surprised to see him sign at LSU, but his emergence as the guy in your leadoff spot, I think that's what made this lineup be impactful the way it is, because now you have protection for Bear Jones with Dickinson behind him.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. Obviously, Curiel had a bunch of high expectations coming into LSU, and you just never really know how they're going to how they're going to adjust, or how early they're going to adjust as freshmen. And he's adjusted really well. He's hitting 400, and his on base percentage is probably 600. I don't know the exact. Yeah, he's walking. His plate discipline, which has been very highly touted coming in, that he understands the strike zone. He's very poised at the plate. You're seeing that he doesn't chase. He knows who he is. He's starting to hit some balls a little more thump. Obviously, Jared Jones is who he is. Dickinson emerging behind him. That's a huge thing because, Jay said in his interview, he goes, you can walk him all you want. You get 6 RBIs behind him. I think that sends that kind of solidifies the top 3. But I think for me, what made this weekend so special for the offense was the bottom of the lineup. Was Stanfield starting to kind of get on base and get hits and be that guy. And then, it looks like Jay's going to platoon, right? He looks like he's going to do matchup based off the starter, where you have, Tanner Reeves starting against the righties, and then you have Braswell start against the lefties. And then Josh Pearson, he said, hey, don't forget about me, boys. I'm here. I'm pretty good. I'm a senior. I'm a veteran. I come with the big hits. I mean, he was the MVP of the tournament.
Yep.
And I think he's put himself. I think he started all 3 games, and I think we were talking about this on Mic'd Up last week. Is who's going to take control of everybody's going to get opportunities until somebody kind of steps up and takes control of that role, and it feels like Josh Pearson did that. But it's an embarrassment of riches. Fry comes in there, pinch hit, gets a start, hits a homer. You have a bunch of different options, but I think Jay knows his 6, 7 guys that he knows that are consistently be in the lineup, and then he's going to platoon based off matchups and then ride the hot hand.
And a lot has been made as I'm scrolling through the Tiger droppings. At 2:44 a.m., Hip Hop Anonymous, LSU tied for last in the SEC in home runs with 9. Tennessee obviously at the top of the board with 28, Alabama 27. Down you go, but LSU and Kentucky have 9. Is there a lot to be made, or should that be a bigger conversation going forward as this transition from LSU being guerrilla ball and usually is able to win games with the homer to now it feels like if you have Stanfield playing the way that he is and Curiel being able to, they can just turn this lineup over on you. But is it a concern for you that LSU is last in the SEC in homers?
Look, it's fun to hit homers. It is. I mean, everybody wants to see the long ball. It's easy runs. You can make up a lot of ground, or you can kind of run away with the game pretty quickly with home runs. But if you're scoring 10 runs a game, not hitting homers, I think that's a good sign. I think that the ultimate goal is to score more runs than the other team, right? That's how you win. And I don't care how you score the runs as long as you're scoring the runs. And they're getting a lot of hits. They're driving balls in the gap. They're hitting extra bases. They're taking extra bases. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a dynamic offense, more so than relying on the home runs. Now, I do think that you're going to start seeing them kind of hit the home run ball a little bit more, right? I think, Milam's starting to get hot. He had a couple home runs. This weekend, you have, Dickinson's had a couple home runs. Bear Jones should have had another home run, but the win apparently was keeping it in. But you're going to start seeing guys leave the ballpark. They haven't started off that way. I'd rather see it this way than the other way. You saw it last year where all they could do is hit home runs, and they didn't really sustain hits. Everybody was complaining about that last year. Man, all we do is hit homers. We don't sustain. We can't get base after base hit. We're not a really good offensive team. We just rely on the home run. Now it's the opposite, and everybody wants the home runs. You can't please both sides, right? It's not a team that's going to go out there and say, oh, we're going to hit 150 homers. I think you look up at the end of the year, and, they could be in that 60, 70 home run range. And as long as they're having good at-bats and they're getting on base and they're driving guys, I don't care how you score as long as you're scoring.
Yeah, another one about this weekend, obviously away from the team, but the fan base. Obviously, when you were watching the game and you looked in the crowd, I mean, it was nothing.
Felt like a home game.
Nothing but purple and gold. I mean, when Schmidt, we played the clip early in the show, Schmidt got that strikeout to close out game number 2, and it looked like he was in Alec box. Just talk about the fan base and how special it is that on a weekend in February and March, they can all travel to Frisco and pack out a stadium like that.
Yeah, it's obviously I think that's known around the country that LSU travels really well. It definitely helped that they scheduled this on Mardi Gras weekend, right? So the people who are Mardi Gras out, they're trying to get out of Louisiana and trying to go somewhere else. Dallas is a great place to go. It's not too far away. But it didn't matter where it was going to be. LSU was going to travel. They always travel. And above that, not even going to the game. I mean, when they crashed the D1 baseball website, the first game.
What a nightmare!
Yeah, people are trying to spend. They're paying $40 just to watch the weekend. and they're probably going to cancel the subscription after that. But they crashed the website. So to credit to the LSU fans, it's obviously what makes coming to LSU so special is you have the fan base, and you have a lot of really good teams in the SEC that have some sort of the recent history. Tennessee is one of those teams where their fans are really into it, but they don't have the long history that LSU has. They don't have going back to the late 80s to where they are a juggernaut, and they just have that lasting tradition, right? It's kind of a newer tradition for them, and that lasting tradition travels no matter where you go. And so it's fun. I know the players enjoy that. As a player, it's nice to have energy in the stands and being able to feed off of that. So kudos to the LSU fans. They obviously never surprise me, whether it's drinking all the beer in a football stadium or crashing a website or showing up in Frisco in perfect weather. I think they're always going to show up and show out.
Obviously the Nebraska gets up 5-0 against LSU. Was there ever a point where you were nervous? I felt like this LSU offense is playing. Like you feel like you're always going to be able to put pressure on the defense and be able to score runs. So them even going down 5, I think it's a testament to where it feels like this baseball team is right now, where it's kind of clicking on all cylinders. Does that concern you at all, that maybe expectations as of right now, because it's like you talked about the fan base, with no really LSU men's basketball to watch, with no LSU women's basketball kind of stuttering at the moment, does it feel like these expectations might be a little heightened as it's this early in the season? Like they're still trying to figure some things out.
I think when you come to LSU, you expect that. You know what I mean? I think the expectations, you want expectations to be high. That means you've put yourself in a really good situation, right? Like if people aren't expecting anything, then you haven't really done anything for yourself to create the hype. I think anytime you have hype around yourself, it's a good thing. The 5-0 thing, look, on our show last week, Lloyd, the inevitable 2.
That's right.
Skip Burtman used to talk about the inevitable 2 in the first inning, where it's inevitable that you're going to give up 2 runs because everybody's trying to feel each other out, and that's what happened. You give up 3 runs, and you give up a run, then you give a run, then all of a sudden he flipped the switch and he figured it out, and Edinson he dealt from there on, and LSU chipped away until they got to a situation, to a point where they took advantage of a big inning and ran away with it. So I wouldn't say that concerns me as far as the 5-0, the comeback. I think to me that encourages me. And then the expectations don't, because look, whatever they had the expectations, whether they wanted them or not, whether they deserved them or not, the expectation coming to LSU is always going to be high. This team just seems like they're super confident. Like I said, there's a lot of season left. We haven't even gotten the LSU and the SEC schedule yet. You have, a weekend this weekend, which you should take care of business, and then you start with Missouri, and then the gauntlet starts, right? And so there's a lot of season left, a lot of improvement to be had. But where they're at right now, I think is a good sign. And, I think the boys are playing a lot of confidence.
Yeah, you've got 2 more coming up with North Dakota State, Tuesday, Wednesday, then you kind of finally settle in back to a normal schedule. I have 1 more for you. As I'm looking through the schedule, you say get to the gauntlet. Missouri obviously up first, and then Texas. The game that I have circled that I think will be highly attended, I guess I'll say, is Tuesday, March 25th versus your UL Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns. Do you think that this, because of whatever has happened over the last few weeks, where UL is now 0-3 since they they took a website away, since they killed our king, do you think that is going to be, like, the atmosphere in that game is going to be more contentious than ever? Like, it's going to feel like an SEC game. Might be fights.
I think it always feels that way, right? I think just, anytime you play UL midweek, UL is a really good team, right? They've
sputtering.
They always give LSU issues midweek.
What's their Super Bowl?
I think the contention is going to be from the fans, obviously, and more from the student section of the fans, I think, than anything. But yeah, I mean, anytime you have a little extra emphasis on a midweek game, it's going to be fun. But I don't think LSU specifically is going to put any more emphasis on that game. I think for them, the weekend's what matters most. And, look, if LSU loses that game, I'm sure everybody's going to feel like the sky's falling. I don't see them losing, but midweek games, you never know.
There should be a lot made of it, that's for sure. I'm
sure.
throwing Kate Anderson.
Yeah, the Texas weekend is going to be great, though.
Oh, yeah.
The Texas weekend on the road, I mean, I think that's why this weekend was so important is because you got out. It wasn't a true road game, obviously, but you had 4 games away from LSU. And
I can't believe they're making LSU travel to
test.
Texas and Oklahoma this year.
I mean, that seems like it's people say to me, but hey, here I'll tell you this: a lot of LSU fans are probably pretty pumped they get to go to Austin.
Right?
They haven't been to Austin,
Definitely.
So if they travel to Frisco, I'd imagine they're going to travel to Austin for the weekend, right? So it's a vacation for the family. You're going to go out there and you're going to see LSU play Texas, which you have never seen in a regular season series on the road. But you had 4 games in Texas this week that's going to really set them up for the road trip in a couple weeks.
Big series for you. That's the. I don't think they've played Texas since 2009. I think you're a big part of that, huh?
Yeah, that was a good one for us.
Yeah.
That was a neutral site game. You know what? Didn't have any home field advantage, but we had fun. It was a good time.
Good time.
Good time.
Speaking of fun,
Good time.
how much fun is it when you're playing with the confidence this LSU defense is playing with, where you feel like you can make any play on the field, whether it's the relay, a flip, put out from second to short.
That was a montage from a movie.
Or a diving catch in center field, left field, right field, wherever. They're making every play. How much fun is it when you have that confidence in yourself and the guys to your left and right?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we haven't talked enough about the defense and what they did this weekend. Obviously pitching is great and the hitting is great, but the third part of baseball is playing defense. I mean, we saw it at times last year where we weren't as sharp as we needed to be defensively and giving guys extra outs and allowing innings to continue. And a lot of times that kind of bit us in the ass a little bit. But this year, so far, this is one of the better defensive teams that we've seen at LSU in a long time. Their outfield, we've talked about their outfield before and how athletic it is. And it's probably the most athletic outfield they've had since Jay's been there. You have 3 guys. When you have Curiel, you have Jake Brown out there sometimes, and you got Stanfield. All 3 of those guys can play center field. And obviously Pearson had the game-saving play in Omaha. So you have guys that can play elite defense out there, which that leads to a lot of the diving plays. And then when you go up the middle and you have 2 guys that have experience and you have 2 guys that are really good communication-wise, you get the up-the-middle glove flip mid-game where you haven't practiced it, and you make these types of plays. And it's just once you start doing that a couple times, that momentum train just continues to go.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with errors. Once you start making a couple errors, the balls you probably should make, it's kind of contagious, and it takes you a little bit to kind of get back on track. Same thing for good plays, man. When you make the plays like that, that's contagious. Other guys around the field want to do the same thing, and you can ride that wave for a long time.
It feels like the chemistry, at least at this point, the season's off the charts. Like, you see the guys jumping into the pool, Chiefs doing a belly flop. Like, the whole thing it feels a little different than it did last year. Like, last year it felt like it was it was such a strain to be able to win these baseball games. You're squeezing everything you could to be able to get some wins. Now it feels like they're very dangerous, and now, as you said, ranked 1 in the country between you and Tennessee. So I'm excited to see I guess if there's one question mark, would you say it's catcher or third base at this point? Because you saw Beatty, kind of get dominated behind the plate Saturday.
I wouldn't call it a question mark because I think Luis Hernandez has been good back there. He's thrown a couple guys out. I think he's been fine. I think Aaron Beatty is going to continue to get better. I mean, he's a young guy. He's a freshman. He's gonna figure some stuff out. And I think third base is fine. I think Braswell obviously is the proven commodity there defensively. Last year he had 300 on offensively, and I know Jay likes Tanner Reeves a lot. He had a good game. I think game 2 of the series. And, he's been a little bit shaky on defense, with some of these errant throws. And I think that'll settle down a little bit. But I wouldn't call that a weakness. I think you have if Jay really says, okay, we need to play defense, Braswell is going to be out there at third base. And he's gonna lean on Luis Hernandez behind the dish, at least as of right now. So I don't think weakness is the right word.
Question mark.
Out of all the positions that doesn't feel as solidified, maybe those 2.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, we appreciate your time this morning, joining us, talking some baseball. Obviously, have a great show tonight. But, yeah, we appreciate it. Good to see you again, and have a good one.
Good to see y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we'll do this.
Haven't been on the show in a minute.
I know. We had to bring you back. You went Hollywood on us. You had your own show.
Nah. I think y'all lost my number.
Yeah, I found it.
We found it.
But I'll hang out with you later on, 5 o'clock.
There you go. See you later.
We'll go live from 6 to 8 for Mic'd Up, but we'll get there early and set it up.
I'll call you at 4. Make sure you're not sleeping.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yep.
All right.
Man.
Thanks for joining
Later,
us.
boys.
Later.
Yep.
Go to work.
Good stuff there. Obviously, great.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's the best, dude.
That's awesome. Great LSU baseball discussion there. Obviously, this is a really fun team to watch and talk about. And I'm sure it's probably pretty
Thank
special for
God.
him.
It does feel like they are this hype is warranted. It does feel like they're good, but thank God if they were bad right now.
Oh my gosh.
It would be a tough stretch
Oh
of
my
the year.
gosh.
Be doing a lot of Wordles.
Show content would be hard to come by. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it does feel. I mean, when you really do look at what happened, like over the weekend, like LSU, like they were losing in all of those games at some
Oh my
point,
gosh,
and then
yeah.
until you got to obviously to Sam Houston, where it was like you almost pulled LSU women's basketball. You're up, go up so much
7-0.
early, and then it ends up being 12-8. And you're like, oh, but while the wins are great, there is still some things to be worked out. But
Right.
it's been a blast so far to watch the LSU baseball team play, and you have 5 opportunities to see them this week.
Yes.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday,
All
Saturday,
in Alley
Sunday.
Box.
All at the box.
Yep. And so make sure, don't forget.
Maybe I'll go for my birthday.
Get some row back in before you go to the games. If you see me and Lloyd out there, I bet you we'll be in row back.
No doubt.
100%.
We have to do our fashion show. We have enough gear.
Yeah, we do. Shout out to Rowback. But remember, go to the website, rowback.com, Tigers, Tigers for 20% off. But yeah, I mean, that's it. We get it. Mikey got us to 9 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, we squeezed everything we could out the old boy, the young chap.
Oh, yeah. Had to talk about that LSU defense, though.
And people are asking if he dyes his hair. I'll ask him off air.
It is jet black.
It is.
But I tell you what, it's great. I mean, it's great because he's got the jet black hair, the tan skin, and it makes those teeth
pop.
You know, it's a great play. But we'll be back tomorrow morning.
Some
7
guys
to 9.
have it all.
Yep. Some of them have.
Some of them have none.
None. But we'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9. Appreciate you guys this morning. Have a blessed day. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see you then.
Peace. Blessings. Love you.
Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Lundy Gras.
Lundy Gras.